Okay, we're back, and I'm your host, Dr. Michael Reiner of the Independent Doctors of Pahrump, and we're entering the last few minutes of the program. And again, if you have a topic or a burning desire to ask a question, number is 727-8750, and please feel free to call in. Okay, hopefully my producer's got the slide. He can bring it up. There it is. Good. This was the data I was talking about, that I call it a war zone out there, but because a lot of people are suffering and it is taking people's lives. There are, again, 16,121 homicides. This is 2013. And the prescription analgesics. Now, all-cause death due to all drugs were in the 46,000, and this is data reported from the CDC. Heroin overdoses killed 6,200 people, and almost as much as HIV. And so while I know sometimes we don't feel sorry for people that do that, if we take those numbers and we put that into terms of crime, in terms of lifestyles and things of that nature, it is a sad statement of where we're at. So you can get the idea that prescription drug abuse, prescription drug overdoses is a very prevalent problem. It kills as many people as people kill each other. So it is a major thing. Okay, so there was another slide that was next I want to talk about. This was back in 2012. The doctors wrote 259 million prescriptions for painkillers. Well, you can take that number and multiply it by an average number of 120 and get the number of billions of pain pills that were actually prescribed. And then one of the data that in Pahrump here, and I think some viewers might have an idea where that came from, but according to the Scorpion Task Force in town, they wrote 2.5 million doses of opioids over a 3-year period of time. And that's pretty amazing considering there are 35,000 people in this town. 4 million people across the country have used for non-medicinal purposes. So that means 4 million people were using medicine, abusing it. And again, I talked about the number of ER visits. Okay, and then another slide that goes on from there talks about the fact that we have, this is one of the numbers that I was alluding to, that 2010, enough painkillers were prescribed to medicate every American every 4 hours for a month. That's a lot of pain pills that are being prescribed. And the U.S. spent $200 billion each year on medical care stemming from improper, unnecessary use of prescription drugs. Now, whether or not that's also prescription analgesics, I'm not particularly sure, but that was from Medscape in 2014. So we do know it's an epidemic. We do know it's out there, and this move by the pharmacies to try and control it is really a power play. It's really unnecessary. Physicians are trying to do everything they can to thwart this. I mean, we have a license at stake. We have a reputation. There are pill mills out there. There are doctors who will give you whatever you want. They're becoming fewer and fewer, and the walls are sensing to close in. And especially now the pharmacies are actually starting to pay attention to what doctors are doing, and they have the right to ask the question. And that's, again, one of the reasons why a pharmacist can refuse to fill a prescription, is because they don't think it's in the best interest. I had one Walgreens pharmacist tell me that a patient of mine did not fit their profile and would not fill their prescription. Well, I don't know what that profile was. I think that was illegal, but their job is not to make that decision on whether or not that person gets that pain pill. I think that person looked like they might have been a suspicious character. But one of the things that I do is I leave my judgment at the door. I mean, there are people that walk into the office and they may look like they are so-called, they have different mannerisms, or they have multiple tattoos, or they have other things of that nature, and you immediately think that they are, of a lesser part of society. One gentleman who I saw today, I like him very much. He's an ex-undercover cop, and he looks like he, could be a drug addict off the street. So you just never know about people, and you should leave all of those comments and your prejudice against people outside the door. We have Lisa on the phone. Lisa?
Mr. Reiner, I waited in your office for 2 hours for an appointment. Can you tell me why you wait so long?
Why do you have to wait so long?
Yes, sir.
Well, I said the first rule of medicine is to listen to the patient, and I try and sit down and listen to the patient. Medicine is tough today. It takes a long time to see people. A lot of information has to be captured on electronic charts. There's a lot of logistics that take place in putting medical records and doing the service of medicine today. So it isn't that easy to do it like we used to be able to do it. But in some respects, it's better. In other respects, everything good comes with something bad. And that's my best explanation for that. But most people that do wait in my office will let you know that I do give you the same time that I give everybody else to try and answer your questions and to make sure that you get what you need out of that visit. So that being said, I can only do so much in a day and help so many people in a day, and I thank you for that call. Are you still there? Lisa? Okay, well, she must be off the line then. Okay, so let's get back to the topic at hand. One of the things I wanted to talk about was a little bit about the addiction model, and hopefully we have a slide up there. Again, addiction, and so that not everybody who takes a pain medication is an addict. I think it's very important to understand the difference between addiction and dependency. Doing something despite the negative consequences of the action is the simple definition of an addiction. And I put some examples down there. Smoking. I mean, we all know smoking is bad for you, but you continue to pick up the cigarette and smoke it. So therefore, you're doing something despite the negative consequences of the action. Going to the grocery store to buy groceries and never making it past the slot machines. You have a gambling problem. And lying to your healthcare provider about the lost pain medications, an example of a negative consequence to get your more pain medications. Not taking your meds as prescribed has a negative consequence. You use them too quickly and you get more dependent on the medication. And driving while intoxicated, well, that's an obvious one. It has negative consequences, but yet people do it all the time. So when you cross that imaginary line, okay, of doing something that has negative consequences and you've lost the judgment, then you might be addicted to that particular process. The World Health Organization has one using drugs in a compulsive fashion, not intended for its effects. And I understand that, but really in reality it's doing something. And the corollary to this is Einstein's rule of insanity, doing something the same way, expecting different results. So, and with regards to drug addiction, we can line up 15 or 20 people and give them all hydrocodone today. And we will find 2 or 3 that will achieve a euphoria from that. The majority of people will not be drug addicts. The majority of people will not take it to the nth degree. They will take it responsibly. But there will be a select few. And that's why I think in some respects, getting help for these people and helping them achieve a recovery is very important. Identifying those patients. So, if I do find somebody who is, has a problem, who does show things in their urine that's not supposed to be there or not taking their medication, we like to offer them help. Whether they choose to get it or not, that's certainly, we still live in a society where you are free to accept and do the consequences of whatever behavior you have. One of the things I do know about the older generation today is they are afraid of pain pills. They call it dope, and they don't want to be addicted. And I think that comes up from the idea that they grew up in a time when America was very coming out of the 20s and the 30s and the reefer madness issue, where we did a huge campaign, not we, but not I, but the government did a huge campaign against drugs. And they don't want to take a pain pill because they're afraid they might get addicted. Remember, dependency is taking it, the more you take a product, the more dependent you become on it. And that is okay because it helps you maintain a style of living that you're able to function. You take it because you need to take it and because it helps you become a productive human being again. And that's true with anxiety medication. I don't like Xanax because it's not really good for that. It's good for acute stuff, but it's not good for chronic anxiety because it makes you, it's such a short-acting drug, it makes your body crave things. So we're almost out of time tonight, and we could go on and on about this particular topic, but I want you to understand, if you heard anything tonight, understand that there is a pain epidemic, and that we as healthcare providers are aware of it, and we are trying to stem the tide as best we possibly can. What we need is patients to understand that and understand that the pendulum is swinging towards a more constricted society, and that's a good thing in some respects. Where I'm vehemently opposed to it is when pharmacists start playing doctor and start telling me that I'm out of the scope of my practice, or that I'm prescribing too much pain medication for a person. They're looking at one particular thing. They're not looking at the whole patient. They haven't been trained in that respect. And I think at the end of the day, most physicians, 99% of them, are trying to do no harm to their patient, and they're trying to do that. What we can't help all the time is that when a patient wants to do harm to themselves and they're not honest about that, it's very difficult to come that. But that is a rarity. You just try and exercise caution, prudence, and try and do what's reasonable and responsible for your patients. And at the end, the results should speak for themselves. We should be back next week, and I'll continue on a little bit more about this particular topic. And certainly, I believe there is a website, I think, Pahrump Local. So if you have any topics and you're afraid to call in, and there's anything you want to talk about, please do that. And with that, we'll be signing off tonight, and we'll see you here next week. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Dr. Reiner.